Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Waseem here from Handsome Smells and I'm bringing you guys my top 5 spring fragrances for the year 2016. Now some of you guys might be wondering why I'm doing a top 5 for this season rather than a top 10. Now if you guys look at my seasonal list from 2015, last year, you'll notice that my spring and summer seasonal lists were top 5s, whereas my fall and winter lists were top 10s. And there's a reason for that, guys. In the spring and summer, I'm really only wearing my lighter and fresher stuff during the day, and if I'm going out during the night, even if it's spring or summer, I'm still wearing my heavier stuff. For example, just the other night I went out with some of my friends for a meal and went to a shisha lounge. I didn't really pick a fresh fragrance. I didn't pick something like Acqua di Gio or Izimiyake's L'Eau de Homme. I picked a Tobacco Vanille, or I would have picked Oud Isfahan. I really wear my heavier stuff during the night, guys, because the springs here, the spring night times are still quite cool and you can get away with wearing heavier stuff. I'm really only wearing my lighter, fresher stuff during the day during spring. So I really just wanted this list to be my very honest and best of the best spring fragrances for this season. Also, due to that background that I've just given, my fragrance collection also correlates to that as well. 80% of my fragrances are heavier fragrances which you tend to wear during the day and evenings of fall and winter, and during the evenings of spring and summer as well. Whereas 20% of my fragrances in my collection are for the warm weather, which I only really wear during the day in spring and summer. So guys, that was a little bit of a background of why I'm doing a top 5 rather than a top 10. Again, if I was doing a top 5 for winter, it would be incredibly difficult for me to pick just 5 fragrances from my list of heavier fragrances, because really in the winter and the fall I'm wearing and testing close to 50 to 80 fragrances, and to pick just 5 is quite difficult. Whereas for example in spring this year, I'm picking 5 of my favorite fragrances from a sample of around 20 to 30 fragrances. So to pick 5 was a lot easier. Now that was a background of why I'm doing the top 5. Sorry to bore you guys out with that, but I just wanted to explain why I was doing it. So spring here in the UK, I think the spring officially started at the end of March. I believe it's the 22nd of March when spring officially starts. But to be honest guys, spring here in the UK, especially where I live, hasn't really felt like spring most of the time. We've had a lot of rain. It's been quite cold sometimes as well. We had a period where it was so cold we actually turned the heating up at home and it felt like the winter. It was very cold. It didn't feel like spring at all. There was times where at the end of April actually we had some snow here in the UK. We had some hail as well. A lot of torrential rain, a lot of rain this spring. But the last couple of weeks it's actually been quite sunny. We've had really warm weather. It felt a bit like summer actually. It's been very warm, very sunny as well. Even though it's been quite horrible most of the time in spring this year, the 5 fragrances I'm going to show you guys are all really versatile for a spring season here in the UK. They're perfect for those warm spring days and they're perfect for those cold rainy spring days as well. So let's get this list started, guys. And number 5 is incredibly versatile, Bleu de Chanel by Chanel. This for me is a modern masterpiece, guys. Bleu de Chanel opens up with this very sweet, beautiful citrus grapefruit accord. It's sweet and very refreshing and very pleasing. Into the heart and the dry down, Bleu de Chanel really transforms on my skin. The grapefruit really becomes into the background and I get this gorgeous smoky vetiver and incense. It's a citrus fragrance with some complexity for me, in my opinion. A lot of people find this to be generic, which I really just don't understand. I don't think this is a generic fragrance at all. This is a masterpiece in my opinion. This fragrance, it just invokes a lot of sophistication and a lot of class. It's a very elegant scent as well. Bleu de Chanel I absolutely adore wearing during the spring days, especially at work. It just has that professionalism sort of vibe to it. Bleu de Chanel lasts on my skin 8 to 10 hours, excellent longevity. Projection is excellent as well. People notice you when you walk past them. You notice the fragrance on yourself all day. It projects all day. And people compliment you on this fragrance as well. It's an incredibly pleasing scent. And number 5, Bleu de Chanel by Chanel. And number 4, again, a very versatile fragrance again, and for me, a perfect scent for the spring. That's the masterpiece from the nose of Jean-Claude Ellena. It's Terre de Homme. Terre de Homme, guys, what can I say? A very natural smelling scent. A lot of designers come across sometimes a little bit synthetic, but Terre de Homme really has this very natural quality to it. And for being a designer, it's actually really refreshing to see that. It's a class in its own for me sometimes. This is a designer fragrance on a very high end of the spectrum. Terre de Homme opens up again with a very sweet grapefruit accord and orange citrus as well. The grapefruit lasts on my skin for around the hour mark, but the orange really does last throughout the scent. The orange does transform during the journey of this fragrance, however. The orange in the opening is quite bright and fresh and quite citrusy. However, the orange starts becoming dirtier and earthier and has this quite rotten feel to it as well. Now that does sound a little bit disgusting, but trust me guys, it's not as disgusting as I'm making it sound like. It's actually incredibly intriguing. It's a fragrance which every time I wear it just makes me think, wow, what a beautiful scent. This the earthiness and woodiness of this scent, I believe, comes from the vetiver note, and the mix with the citrusy orange is just a beautiful blend in my opinion. It invokes it evokes in your mind that you're picking up a fresh orange off the dirty earthy ground. It's a beautiful picture that this fragrance invokes in your mind. Terre de Homme is a masterpiece in my opinion, and it's great for spring days. It lasts on my skin around 10 hours, which is excellent, and the projection is very, very strong for the first 3 hours. After that, it becomes quite moderate. Even though it's quite moderate during the twilight of the scent, it never really becomes a skin scent. It still projects really lovely. You have a great scent cloud around you, and again, this fragrance, it just has this sense of professionalism. I absolutely love wearing this at work. It's incredibly sophisticated and elegant as well. That's Terre de Homme by Homme. And number 3, guys, is a fragrance which I've been testing a lot this spring, and a review of this fragrance is going to come up in the next few weeks, guys. The fragrance I'm talking about is Ormonde Man from the house of Ormonde Jayne. Now, Ormonde Man, I bought this decant last year, and as soon as I got the decant through the post, I opened it up, I took the bottle out and I sprayed the top of my arm, and I gave it a few sniffs and I thought, meh, it's okay. It's a bit underwhelming actually. As soon as I sprayed it, I thought, it's nice, but it's nothing outstanding. And for the niche price that this fragrance is going for, I thought, well, this ain't that great actually. And I never really revisited the fragrance again, because from the first sniff, I was actually quite underwhelmed. It wasn't until this year actually where a fellow British reviewer called Greggy Boy 76, he did a video, I believe it was his top niche houses, and one of the houses that he picked in that video was Ormonde Jayne, and he also talked a little bit about Ormonde Man in that video as well. And when I watched that video, I really thought, you know what, I need to revisit this fragrance again, because it gets a lot of praise on Base Notes, for Grantica, Facebook groups, and even on YouTube. So the next day, it was spring. It was a nice spring day. It was quite sunny. I thought, yeah, let me give it a go. Let me wear this to work. And I sprayed it on, and I just thought, wow, what was I thinking last year? This fragrance, it just screams high quality to me. Ormonde Man opens up with a very refreshing and reinvigorating citrus vibe, which really subdues after the first 20 to 30 seconds and becomes a very spicy and woody scent. The opening, I get notable notes of pink pepper, cardamom and cedar. It has a very spicy and woody nuance to it. As the fragrance develops into the heart, I get this very creamy sandalwood, and overall the fragrance into the dry down is a very dry, spicy, woody scent. This fragrance does remind me a little bit of Royal Oud by Tweed. Both fragrances share similar notes of this pink pepper, the cedar and the sandalwood, and the note of oud, which is listed in both the official notes of the fragrances, but you don't actually smell on your skin. They both share similar nuances and similar notes, but Ormonde Man is like a lighter, fresher version of Royal Oud. Royal Oud's for the winter and the colder months, whereas Ormonde Man for me is more suited to spring and summer. If Creed decided to make a flanker, a summer flanker of Royal Oud, that's what I would imagine this fragrance to smell like, really. I'm not sure if anyone else gets that correlation, but for me, when I was wearing Ormonde Man, it actually really reminded me of Royal Oud by Creed. They both share similar sort of nuances. Ormonde Man was a great fragrance, guys. For me, the ingredients just scream high quality, especially the pink pepper and the cardamom. I just really feel like the perfume of this scent, I don't know who the perfume is on the top of my head, but I really feel like the perfume use the highest quality ingredients in this scent. It's definitely a fragrance to check out. I feel it's perfect for spring. It's a perfect masculine signature fragrance during the springtime for me. It's very versatile as well, great for work. Again, this fragrance really invokes elegance, a lot of professionalism and sophistication. Longevity around 10 hours, which is excellent. Projection was strong for the first hour, after which it becomes moderate, but I'm not really complaining. I could really smell it on myself all day, and it's a brilliant fragrance. That's Ormonde Man from the house of Ormonde Jayne. Now moving on to the top two. This one was hard, which was going to be my number one and which was going to be my number two. But at number two is a masterpiece from the house of Creed. It's a classic from the 80s. That fragrance is just perfect for spring, guys. It's Green Irish Tweed. Green Irish Tweed is a fragrance, like it says, it's green. Like the name of the fragrance, it's a very green fragrance. It opens up with this mossy green, grassy feel to it, and it dries down with this gorgeous sandalwood. It's a beautiful, fresh green fragrance, guys. For me, on my skin, I get around 8 to 10 hours of longevity, which is excellent for a fresh scent, and the projection is very good as well. I do smell it on myself throughout the day. Again, this fragrance, it gets a lot of comparisons to Cool Water, but they do smell alike in some stages. But for me, this one is slightly more superior and a little bit more different to Cool Water, that I actually do have both fragrances in my collection. Green Irish Tweed, again, it makes, I'm saying that for every single fragrance in this list, but it really just invokes a lot of professionalism and elegance, guys. It's a very sophisticated fragrance as well. It's a very gentlemanly fragrance. I really like wearing this to work, especially when I'm wearing my favourite suit and my favourite shirt. This one really just makes me feel 10 times better as well. It just makes me feel like a movie star. That's Green Irish Tweed from the house of Creed. Now, number one, guys, this is an excellent fragrance for spring. It works well in the slightly cooler spring days and works well in the slightly warmer spring days as well. This fragrance I absolutely love wearing to work, and especially works during the spring days, guys. That's from the house of Christian Dior, the absolutely masterpiece Dior Homme. Dior Homme for me is the perfect signature scent for the modern man. As everyone knows, this has the note of iris, but apart from the iris, you also get this beautiful patchouli and vetiver in this scent, which gives it a slightly dirty vibe to it, dirty, earthy sort of vibe. It's not a lot of dirty earthiness because of the strong iris in this scent. You also get a lot of touch of cocoa as well, and a touch of leather into the dry down. It's a beautiful, amazing fragrance in my opinion. I get longevity around 10 hours. Projection is very good as well. A beautiful, gorgeous scent. It's the perfect masculine scent in my opinion. A lot of people don't find Dior Homme to be masculine, but for me, this is a very masculine fragrance for the modern man. Now, in the past, people may have been wearing Anthos or other really like Chorus from the house of YSL, and those fragrances would evoke masculinity. But for me, in this modern era in 2016, this invokes masculinity in my opinion. I really feel like masculinity is dependent on generations, and for this generation, this is a masculine scent. For me, this fragrance, it's just so elegant, it's bold, it's daring, and I absolutely love wearing this with a white shirt when I'm going to work. It really works well in the spring. It's the masterpiece Dior Homme by the house of Christian Dior. So there you have it guys, my top 5 fragrances for the spring for the year 2016. I really hope you guys enjoyed this list. If you have, then please do make sure to leave me a like and a comment below. I really love reading every single comment I get from you guys. And guys, if you haven't subscribed, then make sure you do. Until next time my friends, see you later.